I've noticed that as we get older, sleep doesn't come as easily to us. I really miss those days as a kid when you would go to bed and it was just like you would close your eyes, and when you would open them again it was morning. A blink is all it took for the night to pass. And how I wish we had those days still today. But sleep as an adult has always been something that I've had difficulty with. I'd lay there for 2 hours trying to get to sleep. So in summer of 2019, I talked to my doc and I said, "Doc, what can we do about this? I have a hard time getting to sleep." So he prescribed Ambien. And Ambien, he told me, he said, this would have some side effects. You might be doing things that you don't remember doing. And I thought, oh, get out of here. How do you do something and not know you've done it? Well, I found out. So a few weeks passed, and what I discovered I would do is I would take the Ambien, about 30 minutes would pass. In that 30 minutes, I would read in bed on my iPad. I would finish, put the iPad on the nightstand, and then go to sleep. Well, sometime after the point of where I thought I went to sleep, I didn't. I became active again. And I would send out these emails on that iPad to people that made absolutely no sense. It was nothing but a cluster of consonants. And it's like, how in the world did that even happen? Because I had no knowledge of that at all. And as I thought about it, I think what was happening is rather than when that keyboard comes up on the iPad, instead of tapping each letter, I remember seeing people do that swipe where they would just swipe from letter to letter and then it would create the word. And that's what I figured out that I was doing. I was trying to do the swipe thing and the iPad didn't do the swipe thing, so I'm just hitting consonants and letters and anything that my finger happened to rub against. Needless to say, that made for some pretty interesting and questionable emails, but there was this one woman that I would, she was a dear friend, lived in northern Arkansas and then southern Missouri. Heather was her name. And she died this January from MS. But for some reason, I would always send her these emails. And she referred to me as AR, Ambien Ron. Whenever she got those kinds of emails, she knew that I had taken Ambien and had no clue what I was even doing. And it was just the stupidest stuff in the world. And it became kind of tough to get up. And the first thing you have to do is, okay, I better check the emails just to see what, craziness I did last night. And it was never anything dumb or dangerous or harmful. It was just some of the most ridiculous sounding emails that didn't even make sense. Heather also told me one time, I got up one morning and I checked the emails. She said, you might want to check to see what furniture you're going to be missing today. And it's like, what are you talking about? Apparently, I'd called up, or I went online during the Ambien phase of sleep and made an appointment with 1-800-GOT-JUNK and made an appointment for them to come and get my sofa the following morning. And the strange thing about it is I had been thinking about getting rid of it because I didn't use it that much and it took up quite a bit of space, but I would have just put that off and I'd still have the sofa over there today. But Ambien Ron made the appointment for me and they showed up at about 10:30. But yeah, the Ambien was some pretty intense stuff. What I'm going to show you on the screen up here, or maybe I'll just cut this and go to full pictures. I got up one morning and I went into the bathroom and looked, sitting on the tank of my toilet, which typically was bare. I keep things cleaned in there and clutter-free. Sitting on the top of the tank was what you're going to see next. And I think I'll switch over to voiceover at this point. Okay, we're here in the voiceover control center here at the lab. And this is the picture that I walked into the following morning. I see a roll of paper towels. I see a 1,000 milliliter beaker, and it's sitting on a paper towel. And my question to myself, what is that doing there? And how did it get there? I go back in and I look on my iPad, and in the Photos app, I see this. Apparently, I found a need to download this picture somewhere, and I'm wondering how long did it take me to find this. But apparently, it's potty time for 7 days of the week. Now, I'm looking at 4 times a day, and then you get a prize. I've gone 4 times before lunch. There's been some times I've gone 4 times within the hour. So I don't know what kind of potty we're talking about there. It doesn't specify the specific kind of potty. Is it number 1? Is it number 2? Or maybe it's a combination of them, and maybe it's a number 3. So what do? Do I put stickers in each one and then get the great prize? In addition to the previous form, this one was also in the Photos app. Now, I'm impressed with this form, and I got to tell you that if I was to devise a form, this would be it. Let's see if we can zoom in now on those headings to see exactly what it is we're supposed to document. Okay, ignore the fact that this is from the Department of OBGYN out of Columbia University's Medical Center. So I'm thinking that this is more female-oriented than male-oriented, but we could all use it. There's 24 hours on this, so you can document every hour of the day. What kind of drink did you have? How much of it did you have? Bathroom trips. How many times? How much urine? Boy, if there was just a way that I could measure that out. And then we get into accidental leaks. How much? Small, medium, or large? See, that has to be a woman thing, because when I go take a leak, there's no accident there. When it's time to go, we go. Do you feel a strong urge to go? Yes, no. So I guess maybe if you have an accidental leak, did you really feel like you had to go a lot? I say, again, that must be something that you women understand. What were you doing at the time of this? Is it the accidental leak, or is it just when you went to the bathroom? Coughing, sneezing, or something else? Oh, we're not done with the pictures that was in the Photos app. I also discovered that there's something called the Bristol stool chart, which I thought that's kind of cool. I didn't know they had a chart for this. From type 1 to type 7. I found another one that night that seems to be a little more inclusive. It gives you the red, yellow, green light over on the right. And it looks like your type 4 is where you want to be. Wondering if it can get any worse. I got out of the Photos app and I saw that there were 2 apps that were on my iPad that were not there the previous day. Voiding Diary and Log. I'll let you figure out which one does what. I did open up the Voiding Diary, and apparently I created my own account, and somewhere a little after midnight I got up and had 200 milliliters of urine that I recorded in this Voiding Diary. So that is why the beaker was sitting on the back of the toilet tank. I was afraid to open up Log. Actually, what I did is I just deleted both of those. And you got to remember that everything that we have looked at here was done under the influence of Ambien. I do not remember one bit of any of this. After explaining to my doctor the escapades that I had been doing at nighttime, he would ask me, he said, do you do anything else that you know of? I said, no, Doc, I'm the only one around the house. So if I'm doing it, nobody else knows it unless I'm out in the street walking around in my boxer shorts. And he got a laugh out of the beaker, the urine. He thought that was funny. And he said, let's switch you over to something else. Let's switch you over to Lunesta, or at least the Lunesta generic. So that's what I've been taking for about, I'd say, the last couple of years. And it's been very good. There's been no more strange emails that has been sent out. And I don't see any ill effects from Lunesta. So we're sticking with Lunesta.